What is going on, y'all? It is your favorite superstar, Kat the Vat. Today, she's here with another one. You know what she's here with? She's here answering this question that dang dad had. That dang dad was asking, what does gender mean to you? This is what he asked. Hit the replay, Jamie.
Hey there, welcome to That Dang Dad. My name is Phil, and tonight I have a weird question for trans people. I'm certain I'm not the first person to have this question or think through this scenario, but if you are a trans person and you have transitioned in any way, socially, medically, maybe just internally for now.
I have transitioned in all three of these ways.
If you are in any particular way living as your authentic gender, what would that look like for you if you were transported to an uninhabited island in the middle of the ocean? Forget worrying about food and shelter, assume all your physical needs are comfortably met. My question is, what does gender actually mean if you are completely outside of a society, outside of a community, just totally alone?
Dang, Daddy Phil, why you gotta get so philosophical on us, making me question things during a rainstorm? Like, wow. Also, sorry if you hear any big booms in the background, but that's what's going on out there. Daddy Phil, this is what I have for you. I would like to take a stab at this question and try and explain a little bit. But first, let me just give a little bit about myself. You know, you're Phil, I'm Kat, nice to meet you. I am 3 years and 3 months and like 2 weeks. So I'm getting there. I've been on estrogen. That's how long I've been on estrogen. Technically, I've been transitioning socially, or well, like in my very, very close social circles for about 3 years and 8 months or something. So it's been a while. Okay. So what would that gender mean to me if I got transported to this island in the middle of this deserted island in the middle of the ocean? I think I would like to try and answer this question in 2 separate ways. I'm just gonna ramble actually, because that's how I do best. When I talk about things, it's better if I just ramble and then you all just put the pieces together, take what's useful. But when I was thinking about this in the shower earlier, I was thinking about this idea of how I have felt inside versus how I felt outside, right? And I think that I have more or less felt the same as like a sexed being, right? Like I didn't feel like a man then, and I didn't feel like a male then, and I don't feel like a female now, right? I just feel like me. I just feel like how I feel on the inside. And of course, you know, I'm older. I've undergone a lot of experiences that have laden me with more wisdom. They've buffed my entropy stores, you know? Through that, I've grown, right? But I don't think that my transition has actually made me feel different from my first person point of view, right? But the thing is, right, ultimately, we are a first person point of view, a second person point of view, and a third person point of view kind of species, right? So like, when I interact one-on-one with somebody, the way that I want to be interacted with as that person has changed. And so has my third person point of view, right? Like if a random stranger sees me on the street, that also has changed based on like the way that I have aligned myself now, right? So like I think that you mentioned Judith Butler, right? And this whole like gender is a performance thing. And I think that what that means to me in my brain is kind of this idea of like, gender is not who you are in your first person point of view, but it is kind of who you are in your second person point of view and your third person point of view. And I think that in the event that I was alone on a deserted island, okay, let me not get there yet. I also want to introduce this idea of like medicine or anything really, you know, consuming something and it generating new thought patterns in your brain, right? This could be a lot of things. This could be various foods that you eat, and now you've gained the experience of having eaten that, and the experience of eating it, and like everything that goes with eating it. It could be a drug, right? It could be like, there are people that are depressed. They go on antidepressants for a little bit, and they're able to come off of them at some point because they're now able to see new thinking patterns that their brain previously didn't have access to, right? And I think that the same could be true for other drugs, like illegal drugs, but I was really just talking about, I'm really talking about anything that you consume. I'm even talking about things like, I don't know, books you read or like videos you watch, right? Anything that you can consume into your body is changing the way that your brain works and the way that your brain flows. Okay, there. So moving past that, I think that in the event that I was on a deserted island, I would ultimately still feel like myself, right? Like, as I mentioned, okay, maybe I didn't mention it. When I was still male or whatever, I wasn't really comfortable with being a male, but I didn't know better than maleness or malehood, right? So I didn't, or manhood, my own version of manhood, my own limited version as like a kid still, or, just as like an inexperienced person, right? I hadn't experienced these other things yet. I hadn't experienced these other forms of life. These other experiences of life. I hadn't experienced a lot of other dynamics or connections that would come from my second and third point of view perspectives, right? So that's really kind of what caught me off guard, I guess, when I transitioned, is that like I was excited about being perceived differently in this second, third point of view. I think I was most excited for being viewed that way in the third point of view, right? As like some random passerby. This idea of being seen as a woman, as a female, was really exciting to me, right? And like, it still is what I would prefer, but it's not like exciting anymore, if that makes sense. Because at this point, like, I don't want to say it's old news, but like, I'm not unfamiliar with the experience of it before, the way I was in the past, right? Anyways, so I think that ultimately my gender is based on being perceived, and in the event that I was on a deserted island with nobody to perceive me, I don't think it would be as problematic as if there were a few of us, right? Or like a small community or something. And then like, oh, well, if I still have estrogen, it's fine. But even then, I don't think I would take the estrogen all the time, especially if I was by myself on this island. But I personally enjoy feeling the variations of the way different things interact with my body. One example of this is when I eat sugar, I kind of get like a head rush, right? And like my body starts to feel weird. I have some lemon cake, a lemon pound cake downstairs, right? And lemon pound cake is pretty good. But if I eat it, it makes my head go a little cuckoo, and it makes my body start to feel a little cuckoo, and it makes my tummy hurt a lot, and it makes me pee a lot. It makes me urinate very frequently for a period of time until my body like processes out all that like craziness, right? Anyways, I don't know why. Oh yeah. Oh, say, and then I want to compare this to like when I eat eggs or something. Sometimes my stomach hurts a little when I eat eggs, but most of the time, it's a very easy meal. It doesn't make me pee a bunch. I don't get the head rush. I feel nourished, but I don't feel like high off of it, right? Whereas like with that lemon cake, I felt kind of high. Well, I guess I technically do feel high, just in a different way, because everything is just a high. If it's a consumable, it's a high. Anyways, my point is, I like the way that the various hormones that are common feel in different scenarios, right? Like I can feel the hormones working in me. They just feel different in my body. When I take estrogen, I feel a little bit more cognitive, right? When I'm a little bit more testosterone based, I feel very in my body, right? And then like when I'm on progesterone, I feel ways that I don't think I can on YouTube. And I think that in the event that I was alone on this deserted island, I don't think my sense of gender would matter so much. Well, okay, that's the other thing. Because I was raised in society, if we like plucked me out of society and threw me on this island, I would probably not be able to just get it out of my head, right? Like if I think things, I still have these thought patterns from experiencing society, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier, right? Everything you go through does have these like experiential effects and like the effects on your brain. Anyways, I think what I'm saying is that if I'm alone on an island, I don't really care so much how I am gendered because I'm just me in the ultimate. I can think of myself in any way and it will never be challenged by those around me. And I think what I mean by this is if we go back to this first person point of view, second person point of view, third person point of view, in the island, I might be able to look at some calm water and see my reflection, right? Maybe that's my second person point of view. But there's really no need for me to stress about a third person point of view. There's really no need for me to stress about like a fourth person point of view. There's really no need for me to like care about any of it, I guess. So while I still would want access to the various hormones to like maintain my body with how I want it to feel and the various ways that I want to feel at various times, you know, maybe I could even make traditions or like rituals for myself on this island based on the way the tides work or something. I don't know. I would have that choice because if I'm going to be alone on this deserted island for the rest of my life, I got to do something to stay entertained, right? I got to build some kind of tradition for myself. But anyways, all I'm saying is that I'm not really stressed out about it so much because I'm on this deserted island. You know, I have bigger things to worry about, maybe. But not even bigger things to worry about. It's like I want to give an example of like something from trans culture that I'm sure a lot of trans women and trans men will have like experienced, and even cis people will have experienced it, because that's the other thing. I don't think cis people and trans people really exist. Like transsexual maybe, but like I think everybody is constantly transitioning through their lives in various ways based on just the way their body is running and based on the things that they're experiencing, right? Like you are transitioning from stage to stage in your life. Even if you're a cis person, you're transitioning from a baby to a toddler to a kid to a teenager to an adult to a different kind of adult to a different kind of adult to a different kind of adult, because that's how adulthood works. And you just keep you know what I do to get the point. And all of these stages are obviously more than one. They're all like going on and on and on, but like they all just bleed into each other. And anyways, all this is to say that like one thing I've noticed with a lot of trans people is that in public, in drive-thrus, on the phone, with strangers, with society, with the other, right? With this second or third person point of view that is unknown. We don't know how they're going to react to us. We don't know how they're going to respond to us. It's like a, I don't want to say customer service voice, but we pull together our best performance of gender. We pitch our voices up a little. I don't know, we just talk in the ways that we've learned are more clocky as feminine than as like masculine, right? But if you catch a lot of trans people around other trans people, there's a lot less strictness, I feel like, when it comes to Oh, sorry if I just raped everybody's ears, but there's a lot less strictness when it comes to the way that people behave. And I would say that this doesn't just have to be trans people. It can be anybody that that you feel comfortable around. You're going to act differently. And again, this is cis people and trans people, but I'm answering this as a trans person based on the things that I am thinking of as a trans person. So that's why I am doing this. But yeah, that's kind of what I got. I don't know. Okay. Bye.